Good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming to PSIS 30, the Mary White Ovington School, where learners roar. ROAR stands for respect, opportunity, acceptance, and resilience. And these are qualities we instill in our students every single day. Our students come from many diverse cultures and backgrounds. We are proud of our diversity. It is what makes us beautiful and strong. And we couldn't be happier to have a mayor that embraces diversity in our city as well. This is a very exciting day for us all. And so it is my pleasure to welcome the Mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio. Welcome to our school.
Before I begin, I want to thank Mariela for her great work as a teacher in this school, and I'm going to ask her to come back up and say this in the language of which she is a dual language teacher. We're going to put you on the spot, Mariela. Come on. There you go.
Putting me on the spot. Okay. مش حترجمها كلها بس حقلكم أهلا وسهلا to PSIS 30. نحن بنتشرف لنكون لنستقبل Mayor de Blasio. I'm going to shorten it.
Is Mayor de Blasio the same in Arabic?
Yes, we're going to say Mayor de Blasio. Yes, Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it is a great honor to be here at PSIS 30, the Mary White Ovington School. And this is a school that I hear such great things about the school community, the involvement of parents, the sense of this school as being a centerpiece of this community and the great success that's occurring here. Now, when you want to talk about a successful school, it's good to talk about a successful principal, so let's thank Principal Carol Hiraman for everything she does. She has created a wonderful atmosphere in this school, an embracing atmosphere, a nurturing atmosphere, one in which the older kids, the middle school kids, are taught to look out for the younger kids, think of themselves as part of one big extended family. And that is a great example to this city of the way we need to comport ourselves for the good of all. Now I want to thank everyone who is here today. I was saying, where are my elected official colleagues? There we go. Luckily, my peripheral vision is working. I want to thank our elected official colleagues who are here, who have been key supporters of this initiative to make sure that the Muslim community was fully heard on an issue of great importance to the community in terms of the school holiday, and their support was crucial in getting us to this day. First of all, Council Member Danica Miller, who is the only Muslim member of the City Council, we thank you. The strong-willed chair of the Education Committee, who always makes his voice heard, Council Member Danny Drum. Mr. Borough President, you snuck in there. Okay, that's for later. We have other elected officials I'm going to introduce later when they speak, but I am told former Council Member Robert Jackson is here. Where is he? There's such a big crowd, I can't even find people in the crowd. It's wonderful. Council Member, it's good to see you again. And at the time, you were the only Muslim member of the City Council when we served together. So thank you for your support. We're here today to make good on a promise to our Muslim brothers and sisters that a holiday of supreme importance to the Muslim community will be recognized in our school calendar so that children can honor the holiday without missing school, so that families can be together on the holiday, so that our city respects and embraces this important and growing community. We're making good on a promise, and it's time for this promise to be kept. Right now, I'm announcing that the city is adding Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha as school holidays. And I am proud to say that this now makes New York City the largest school district in the nation to take this action. So this is a historic moment for our country as well. And thank you. So many of you gathered here today, so many of you behind me have worked for a long time toward this goal. And I want you to know your hard work, your activism, your voices have been heard. It made all the difference. And this is about respect. This is about respect for one of the great faiths of this earth. Help me with my number, 1.6 billion Muslims around the world. This is about respect for the families of this city. Families are the fabric of our city. They're the core of our city. All families deserve respect. Every kind of family deserves respect, and that's what we're noting today. The Muslim faith is one of the fastest growing in this nation and in this city. And many, many city students celebrate Eid al-Fitr at the end of Ramadan and Eid al-Adha at the end of the annual pilgrimage to Mecca. For too long, again, the families were forced into an untenable situation. Either the children went to school on those holy days, because so many children, of course, so many families devoted to education didn't want their children to miss school. Sometimes those school days included important tests and milestones in the educational year. So either the child went and pursued their education and missed their religious observance, or the other way around. They participated in a sacred moment for their families and missed out educationally. That is a kind of choice that was wrong to have to make for these families. It was wrong that our school system left them in that situation. Let me give you a real-life example, and she's with us today. Farzana Ali, an 8th grader. Where is Farzana? There she is. She led me in. Thank you again, Farzana. And she would miss school to observe Eid. And she said, I'm going to quote you, she felt guilty because I've never been absent from school in my life. Now, that's the kind of young person we should honor and uphold. She asked her classmates to take notes. She did the best she could, having missed school. And she said further, another quote, she said, this holiday is really important, and school is really important to me. So again, what a beautiful thing. A child wants to be there for every single hour of the school year, cares that deeply. We need to support that. And Farzana is far from alone. In the last years, so many children here at PSIS 30 had to make that tough choice, and many chose to observe the holiday, and the absences were very noticeable here at the school. And it also was a burden for faculty. Half a dozen of the teachers here at this school observe Eid, and they had to make the same tough choice. They were deeply devoted to their students and deeply devoted to their faith. So this is the kind of choice people shouldn't have to make, and we're doing something about it here in New York City because we're honoring the great diversity of this city. And I remind everyone, this nation is so interesting, so powerful, so unique in its origins, because it is a nation built to respect all faiths. If you look at our founding documents, and you look at the origins of this nation, there was an overt and clear embrace of all faiths and acknowledgement that in a strong society, all faiths needed to be respected. That is who we are as Americans. We're still working to create that more perfect union. But our foundational documents guide us clearly in this matter. We are supposed to be a nation for all. And this is a step to further deepen that progress. Now, because it's New York City, and we are talking about the importance of the Muslim community to the fabric of our city, this great multi-ethnic, multicultural city, I will now talk about the Eid holidays in Spanish. Only in New York, brothers and sisters. Okay. Me alegra anunciar que la ciudad ha agregado dos celebraciones musulmanas al calendario escolar. Ahora, miles de familias no tendrán que escoger entre sus fiestas sagradas y enviar a sus niños a la escuela. Okay, you saw it here first. With that, it is always an honor to introduce our school's chancellor, but I want to just give you a vignette that really summarizes what a great leader she is. As many of you know, Carmen Farina and I first worked together in District 15 in Brooklyn. I was a humble school board member. She was a lofty superintendent. And we worked together closely. And in the time we served together, a horrible and tragic thing happened to the city, the tragedy of 9/11. And in the aftermath, there was such deep pain in our communities. And there was fear that there would be violence, that there'd be division, that there'd be misunderstanding. Real leaders take a moment like that and bring people together and remind people of our values and why we have to work together against any common foe who would try and hurt all of us. And Carmen Farina swung into action, reached out to Muslim community leaders, worked together to ensure that in our district there was respect, there was information, there was embrace of all, there were people working together to deal with what was an extraordinarily painful moment in our city's history. That leadership she has continued constantly and deepened to this day that she is now our school's chancellor. It's my honor to introduce Carmen Farina.
I want to say that at that time also, since you brought it up, Mayor, we had unbelievable support from the Muslim community. And I want to particularly single out Debbie Almontasa and her family who was here. Because within a day or two, we provided a candlelight vigil for the community to come together, and we had roundtable discussions. And the other thing that we did, which was, I think, a first for New York City, we created people to meet students who were afraid to go to school in the aftermath and walk them to their schools. And as a result, at that time, that part of Brooklyn was a very large Muslim community. We'd taken Atlantic Avenue and that whole area around there. And as a result, I think we were more strengthened as a community. Why, it's such a pleasure to be here today. The more we celebrate diversity, the better we are as a city. When people think New York City around the world, they think about our faces, and our faces are totally different. And I think what's really important is that as different as we may look, we really act a lot alike. New Yorkers tend to be pushy, we tend to rush things, we tend to think about a lot of other things, but in reality, we're a lot more similar than we are different. And I think what's really important, and I had a chance to speak this morning, is the students want to come to school, but they also want to honor their families, and they shouldn't have to make those decisions. And one of the things you could not see from where I was standing, and I hope not to embarrass her, but the principal was crying while some of the things were being done. Well, I'm sorry, Carol, you were, but in a very good way. Because, again...
Did she?
No, in a good way.
Did she not embarrass you?
Because I do think that good leaders respect all kids and want to see all of the kids being respected. This is not just an opportunity for a day off, because I don't see it like that, but it's an opportunity for teachable moments. I'm always looking. Now we will have to, in all our schools, explain very clearly to all our students why they're going to have a day off. And I think it's an opportunity for us to do the teaching that needs to be done. So I'm really, really excited about that. The other thing is I want to be very clear, we're not losing one instructional day. The day that is being used is the holiday, which will be September 24th. Teachers will be having one day of professional development. Schools start the Wednesday after Labor Day. So not one teaching day is lost. And because of the fortunateness of our 80 minutes on Mondays, we have a lot of PD already built in to our schedule. But to me, the most important thing about this decision is that we can now say that we are multicultural, multiracial, multi everything city, and we're all going to be learning about this in our classrooms. So I thank you for this. I think this is a momentous moment, but I think most importantly, respecting people is something that we give a lot of lip service to, but we don't often do. And making promises is easy, keeping them much harder. So thank you, Mayor de Blasio. And I think and it is my pleasure to introduce Speaker Melissa Mark-Verito, who's our next speaker.
And I want to say, as we bring up the speaker, that you're going to hear from a group of people today, all of whom fought vigorously for this. What's going to connect all of the speakers coming up is they stood up on this issue for many, many years and fought hard for this day, and we thank them for that. Speaker Melissa Mark-Verito.
Thank you. You know, and if I may dare say, Mr. Mayor, your use of Spanish was most appropriate because there are many Latino Muslims, and it's a growing sector of the community. So,
I knew that.
and no, I have to say this is an incredible moment. I want to thank the mayor and the chancellor, but my colleagues also who have stood strong, those in the present and those in the past. Now Public Advocate Tish James and Robert Jackson, along with Danik Miller and Danny Drum. This council throughout the years has been extremely supportive of making this day happen. And to my great friends, we have Linda and Zebby who are here as well, and Faiza who works with me. It really is an incredible day. One of the things I believe very strongly, I think the Chancellor touched on it, you know, we have to build the society that we want to live in. And in building that society, it is upon us as leaders and legislators to take action, right? We want to build a just and equitable society. We need to strive and work, and we need to take action. And today, an action has been taken to get us closer to that moment where we are respecting every single person that lives within this city and the diversity that is here. And it is that way that we create acceptance and that we really live in a society where deep respect is one that we're going to inculcate, right, in our children and moving on. So I'm really excited to be here. And Muslim New Yorkers are a vital part of this city. And with almost 1 million across the 5 boroughs, New York City is home to a strong, vibrant, and fast-growing Muslim community. Today, we have taken bold steps to advance our values of diversity and inclusion. By adding these 2 Muslim holidays to the DOE school calendar, NYC, New York City, is affirming that all students, including Muslim youth, are an integral and accepted part of our city. This is a way of validating those young people, letting them know that their life matters, that their faith matters, and that it has a place in this city and in this society. Now, on Eid morning, 1 in 8 public school children and their families no longer have to make that unfair choice between their education and their faith. I applaud Mayor de Blasio and Chancellor Farina for incorporating Eid ul-Fitr and Eid ul-Adha as official school holidays. I also want to congratulate the Coalition for Muslim School Holidays and many members and leaders who for almost 9 years have labored hard for this win, including passing a unanimous resolution in the City Council in 2009. Unanimous. This effort is an example of what happens when communities and diverse stakeholders come together, organize, and engage the civic process with steadfastness. So again, it's a great day to celebrate. Felicidades a todos. Estamos aquí en un día celebrando la diversidad y aceptando que los musulmanes en esta ciudad y los estudiantes en las escuelas públicas vamos a reconocer su religión y vamos a reconocer estos días sagrados. Así que es un gran día para todos nosotros. Gracias.
And now, another leader who's been outspoken for years on this issue, to her great credit, our public advocate, Tish James.
Thank you. Salam alaikum. And to, I guess, Mayor de Blasio, there's no way to say it in Arabic. Salam alaikum, Mayor de Blasio.
That was good.
I want to thank Mayor de Blasio and Carmen Farina. Promise made, promise kept. 10 years in the making. And I also want to give a shout out and a huge thanks to the Muslim School Holidays Coalition. And of course, to Councilmember Jackson, who championed this in the City Council. I was proud to stand with all of you during the rallies and the press conferences as a City Council member and as a candidate for this office and now as your public advocate. And I am proud to stand with you today as we celebrate victory. Victory. One nation under all. New York is celebrated as a leader in our nation's quest for progress and inclusion because we are a city built by the labor of 1,000 different voices, different shades and accents and beliefs. And today we are taking the lead once again as we establish El Adha and El Fitr as official holidays in New York City's public schools. Approximately 1 in every 8 New York City public school children are Muslim, with the highest concentration here in Brooklyn, Queens, and in the Bronx. And in the past years, these students and their families have faced a difficult decision every year on the 2 Eids. Families should not have to make that difficult choice between their faith and their future. And I think one Bangladeshi family summed it up recently in the Bronx for me perfectly. The mother told me that each year her son has to go to the teacher and explain that Eid al-Adha is not a made-up holiday, but is rather the most cherished and sacred holidays in their culture. And so some years he missed exams, he failed assignments, he was not allowed to make up that work. And I am sure this story is all too familiar with many of you here today. But no more. No more. Today, the mayor of the city of New York joined with our great chancellor. Today, they opened the school doors wide open to everyone. And by establishing the Eids as official school holidays, Muslim families will no longer have to reconcile their faith with the drive to educate their children, because no child or family should have to make that choice, no matter their religion. Recognizing these 2 most important Islamic holidays should be a clear message to Muslim New Yorkers, to young people, and to all New Yorkers that tolerance, acceptance, and respect of all faiths and traditions is what makes New York City so special. And today is a day that we should all be proud of, and we should all be celebrate. And so today is a day that we celebrate. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So if you want to talk about diversity and people coming together and living in harmony from all different parts of the world, people living just within blocks of each other from all different faiths, then you need to talk about a place called Brooklyn. So it's time to bring up a man who epitomizes everything good about Brooklyn, Borough President Eric Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. We should not take this as an insignificant moment taking place on the stage of public education history. 50 years ago, Dr. King led a march from Selma to Montgomery and tore down the walls of racism. Muslim community, this is your Selma. This is your Selma. People like Debbie and Linda, they are the Rosa Parks and the Sojourner Truth. They are the symbols of what makes America great. And this moment is so important. Countless number of people outside of this community don't understand the significance of it. Your children no longer would have to choose regents over religion. Those days are over. And I remember on September 11th, standing with police officers, some of them are in this room today, and sitting down and talking to me as they protected the city of New York. Their children and daughters were being persecuted because they wore hijabs or because they were part of the Muslim belief. And they gave their lives to ensure that the people of the city are safe. They said they too love America. And while countless number of people are attempting to push our Muslim brothers and sisters away, we have a mayor of the city of New York that is saying, not under my watch and not while I'm the mayor. That's a powerful statement. That is not only a local statement, that's an international statement. The mayor has set the tone that this city will prick the consciousness of the globe and state. In this city, all are welcome on every level of government, and we can't say thank you enough, Mayor de Blasio. But it's far from over. We have just begun. Now that you have the winds at your back with a holiday that is being recognized by the city of New York, it is time to ensure that when you go into your mosque, that police officers are not in there, not allowing you the right to worship, to ensure that you're not going to be stigmatized, to ensure that you're able to go on any block in any neighborhood. I remember how Coney Island Avenue was all of a sudden devastated and communities evaporated because of what happened in this city. Now is the time to be more relevant more than ever, Muslim community. Don't live in the shadows of the American dream. Be in the sunshine of the freedom that it has to offer. And you have your partners here. You have your partners here. I have made it clear from the time that I wore a blue uniform that I will protect your wishes the way those protect the wishes of African Americans in days of past. We are in this together. One city, one borough, one country, one nation, one belief. Everyone has the right to exist.
The borough president, as always, speaks with passion and eloquence. That is who he is as an individual. I think growing up in Brooklyn only made it better, and brings out the passion, the eloquence. It brings out the personality. Now, the next leader I'm going to introduce, I have said repeatedly, is not only a great voice for fairness and a great activist, but she has a deep surplus of personality because of her Brooklyn upbringing as well. And Linda, you whatever you try and do, the personality comes through, and that's a compliment, okay? You're very Brooklyn, and we love you for that. She's been one of the leading voices for this holiday, and I'm honored to have her join us. Linda Sarsour, the Executive Director of the Arab American Association of New York.
Thank you, Mayor. We are taught to plant seeds, not knowing if we will see the trees that will be grown from those seeds. But today we stand here to see the fruits of our labor, Mayor. You kept your promise to our community, and we will keep our promise to you. Congratulations to our community, because today this is our win. This is your win. This is a win for our children and for future generations in this country. Muslims have been in this country since the days of the founding. And this is the message that we send today, not just in New York City, not just in New York State, not just the United States, but across the world. That Muslims are part of the fabric of this country. We make our country proud, and today, New York City made us proud. I stand here as a proud product of the New York City public school system. And I'm also the proud parent of 3 current public school students today who are here with me to see history in the making. Sisters and brothers, we made history today in New York City. And I'm so proud. I'm so proud of every mother who carried a petition, every person that set up a meeting with a New York City council member. To my Coalition for Muslim School Holidays colleagues, you are the most amazing thing that has happened to our community, and I thank you for all your hard work and your dedication. Thank you, Chancellor, for telling our students, telling my children that they matter, and that the public school system is just as important for them as it is for anybody else. And thank you to the elected officials that are here and those that are not here. Congratulations, Mabruk. This is a big win. We're making history today, and all of you made this happen. Thank you again, Mayor.
You've heard mentioned several times the Coalition for Muslim School Holidays. This was an extraordinary coalition that worked very hard, very energetically for years and years, and all of the members deserve credit. Speaking on behalf of the coalition and a parent himself, so he knows the importance of what this means for our children and our families, Shujat Khan.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of New York, friends, citizens, colleagues, elected officials, teachers, imams, Chancellor Fariana, Mayor Bill de Blasio, good morning. Many times I was asked to speak in front of a large crowd. I had to speak about the hardship we had to endure in our fight for inclusion of Muslim school holiday in New York City. Today is something different. Today I get to talk about success, and I couldn't be more excited. On September 7, 1999, my first child took a seat to the New York City public school system for the first time. The year Christmas fell on the Ramadan. When the break of Christmas finished, the school reopened with Eid hanging around shortly after. My daughter came up to me and asked me, "Dad, how can I celebrate Eid? I have a test on that day. I want to celebrate Eid." Then I said, "Wait a minute." And I spoke to the principal of that school. I knew something was wrong. And the principal advised me to contact to the chancellor, then Klein. And I wrote a letter to him, and he replied that I will excuse absent. And then at the end of the year, when the report card came, I found that my child was marked absent. We are very disappointed. This was the start of our fight for civil liberties and unity. And then I joined La Fuente's New York Civic Participation Project, who helped me to build a coalition of strong-willed individual and diverse organizations with the same goal of fighting for our basic equal right. My daughter is now in college. My other son is in 12th grade, about to enter to the college. It has been my dream to see a future where posterity can reap the benefit of being an American. Mayor Bill de Blasio, you made our long years of fighting, protest, and hard work a success. We feel grateful that our questions have been answered, and we have not just been turned over in the page of history. We feel included in this melting pot of the country, and we take pride of that. Whole world is watching us, and our fight can come to a successful close. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for listening, and thank you all for the support. We did it. We just did it. Thank you. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
I always enjoy hearing. I was enjoying hearing the Arabic chant "Si se puede." This is getting very multicultural around here. Okay, we're going to take questions on this topic. After that, I'm going to give our friends in the media a weather update, and then we're going to take questions on all other topics. So let's start with questions on this topic. Questions on this topic. Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, it's 2 days.
Yes.
And the chancellor said that one of the days before the beginning of the year would balance this out. How do you balance the schedule with the second day?
Let me emphasize, and I'll give an overview, and then you jump in. Yeah, but the point being, each year the calendar is different. You know, for the schools, each year the religious calendar is different as well. So there will be times when both of the Eid holidays naturally do not occur on school days, or one occurs on a school day, or one does not. Sometimes both may. So we will adjust literally year by year according to need. Yes?
How will you determine the date of true Eid? Because, you know, some people, they celebrate one day, some people a different day. So who will be the determining factor of, day of the Eid?
We are going to work with community members to agree upon a formula for that.
How many religious or cultural
How many?
How many religious or cultural holidays are on the calendar now? And do you feel there should be a maximum or a limit?
We have obviously a number of Christian and Jewish holidays on the calendar now. We can get you a whole list. We have a challenge always with the school year and accommodating all the days of the school year. There are state rules that dictate what we have to achieve. That is one of the things that we had to navigate on the road to this day. But we are convinced that this is something we can accommodate properly and achieve the school requirement, school days requirement we need to each year. But it does take constant navigation to make all the pieces come together. And again, with some of the religious holidays, you have changes in the calendar year by year, obviously, in different faiths, and we have to accommodate that in each case. So it's an ongoing effort. Yes?
For lack of a better phrase, pioneers get the arrows, the settlers get the land. So you're doing something.
Okay, now that's an interesting phrase. That's editorial. Hey, he is from Brooklyn. That's editorializing, though. What are you trying to say, brother?
Backlash, the conservative right wing trying to make Brooklyn should ride law. When this was approached, when they approached you, when you looked within, why did you say now is the time?
Because it just was a matter of fairness. It's as simple as that. I think we have a larger discussion that we have to have in this city and in this nation, a deeper understanding of the Muslim faith and its obvious connection to the other faiths for which we do honor school holidays. So, yeah, of course. So there is a clear connection between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The first two, we have appropriately honored crucial holidays. As a matter of fairness and consistency, we should honor the two Eid holidays. Second, this is a growing community in our city and in our schools, and we wanted to recognize that and work closely with the community. You know, people who will criticize it, I think, should go back and look at the Constitution of the United States and recognize, again, we are a nation that was built to be multi-faith, multicultural. That was the concept of this country. That is why people came here to develop this country from the beginning. And we are carrying out that vision here and now. And those who seek to divide us are not going to make us a stronger nation or a safer nation. What we actually need to do is work, as I said earlier, on that more perfect union. There's a lot of work to be done. We, as a city, need to do more to deepen our connection to Muslim communities all over the city, to work more closely with community leaders. As Linda referred to earlier, we've had a real dialogue about how to deepen that relationship. And it's a two-way street. The city has to do some important things to respect and embrace the community. And that's true in schools, that's true in policing. And by the way, I think Commissioner Bratton has done an outstanding job in terms of embracing the community, bringing in community leaders to One Police Plaza. There are a growing number of NYPD officers of the Muslim faith, over 2,000, which is a very good thing for this city. And I commend the Commissioner for updating our policies and ending some policies that really did cause a sense of division. So this is an ongoing effort to deepen the city's outreach and connection to our Muslim communities, but we also call upon all Muslim community leaders and clergy as well to help us deepen those ties and to do their share in that effort. And we're celebrating that today as well. This is an example of true cooperation and people working together in a much more fundamental way than was true in the past. Chancellor, did you want to add?
Tolerance can only be developed when there's knowledge. And I'm sure that there were many of you in this room who basically might have known the words about these holidays, but very little about them. But hopefully you did some homework before you came here today, so you could ask the questions and see and put this in a certain way. And I think the opportunity to do this in our schools with our teachers and all our children This is not something where we'll have dialogues in only schools where we have large Arab Muslim populations. I apologize. This is going to be in all our schools. The discussion will be for everyone, because if we're going to move a tolerant society, this has to be the same way that we discuss Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah and the Christian holidays, when we discuss Good Friday. Good Friday is a day off. It's the talking in the schools and getting the kids involved in dialogue that really will chance to make a difference. Otherwise, we're stuck in the past, and we want to move towards the future.
Any other question on topic? Yes, Michael.
You've spoken in the past about recognizing the Lunar New Year as a school holiday. I just wondered if you could give us an update on where that
I'm going to keep working on that with the Chancellor. What we found in this process is that we are in a very tight situation, as I said, with the number of days that we have to achieve each year. So it's going to take more work to get to that. We remain focused on it, but it will take more work because we have to balance a lot of factors. Yes. Louder?
Does this apply on private schools?
Does this apply? Private schools? No, private schools have to make their own decision. And I hope they will follow our lead. Yes. Any other questions on topic? Yes, Michael.
Just one quick follow-up. Just for parents' planning purposes, do you expect an extra day to be added on to the end of the next year's calendar?
So every year is going to be different, literally. And again, it's not just the Eid holidays. We see this as well with other faiths' holidays that they can vary, obviously, year by year. We, in some cases, will have the school year begin on the Wednesday after Labor Day. In other cases, that might not be necessary because of the way the holidays fall. So that's one of the things we'll work out literally year by year. But parents should certainly be prepared for some years for school to begin on the Wednesday after Labor Day. Yes.
Summer school? The other year?
An excellent question. Josh, you got the question we did not prepare for. We should give an award out each day. Phil, could we formulate an award for the question we didn't prep for, and whoever gets it, if they add up enough points during the year, they get free dinner or something. Chancellor, can you speak to the summer school issue?
At the moment, we would assume that would be a holiday, but as of right now, it doesn't seem to fall on a day when summer school will be in session.
Yes, sir.
What is the position of New York State Department of Education on your decision, the decision you made as Eid holiday in New York City?
What is the view of the State Department of Education? I will ask the Chancellor to address what is the view of the State Department of Education. I would start by saying, before the Chancellor comes up, I think from the Regent's point of view in the State Department, they care about us reaching our required number of days. They understand that we will have a lot of factors that we have to deal with, including snow days. They want us to hit that number. That's the central concern. They leave us a certain amount of leeway in doing that. Do you want to? Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, 180 days is our mandated days. So what was stated in that?
Microphone, come on over.
180 days is the New York State mandated number of days, and always we add a few extra just in case there's snow. And depending on how many days we close because of snow, we have to adjust. But there's always flexibility in the schedule for those adjustments.
Okay, on topic, last call. On topic, going once, going twice. Okay, now let me give you a weather update. You know when I give a weather update, it's not to say everything's okay, okay? We should do that once in a while just for the fun of it. Okay, beginning at 7 p.m. tonight and going to tomorrow evening. You can stay, you can go, whatever you like. It's off topic's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's true. It's beginning at 7 p.m. tonight and through tomorrow evening, we will be under a winter storm warning. Here we go. We may get up to 8 inches of snow beginning around midnight tonight. Now, this is when I do my disclaimer. We have learned that weather reports sometimes change. It can get more, it can get less. But at this moment, from what we know at this moment, we will get up to 8 inches beginning around midnight. The heaviest will be late at night before we get to dawn. Currently, We have rain that will eventually become a mix of sleet and rain before it becomes snow. We urge caution. On the roads and sidewalks, things are very slick already. They will only get slicker. We urge people to use mass transit. Be careful if you have to walk outside. Be careful as you're driving. Stay inside if you can. Use mass transit if you can. Once again, alternate side parking canceled today and tomorrow. Alternate side parking canceled today and tomorrow. Sanitation Department out in full force, salt spreaders, plows ready. As you know by now, they need 2 inches of snow to accumulate before they can start plowing. DOT crews are out clearing bridges and overpasses. A moment en español. Estamos esperando un poco más de nieve esta noche y mañana en la mañana. Por favor, tengan cuidado al caminar, usen el transporte público y eviten estar en la calle. With that, we welcome weather or other questions. Go ahead.
I would like to actually get to speak before she leaves, and this is
Speaker.
But both of you, right now in Chicago, there's a runoff election. A number of the forces that help elect you, the Working Families Party, the labor movement, are trying to help Jesus Garcia defeat Mayor Emanuel. Mayor Emanuel's policies, many of them seem kind of oppositional to your own. I'm curious to find out who are you hoping wins that race?
It's a Democratic primary between 2 members, or in effect, I don't know what their exact electoral system is, but they're both Democrats. I have worked closely with Mayor Emanuel. I think he's done some important work on areas like early childhood education and raising the minimum wage, so I respect him a lot. But the bottom line is that's for the people of Chicago to decide. Josh.
Mayor, actually an educational question. I was wondering where you and maybe the speaker stand on trying to convince the state legislature to block the governor's plan to increase the reliance on testing in teacher evaluation. Maybe also the chancellor would like to opine on that.
Sure, I'll start and then welcome the chancellor. Look, I think the bottom line here is that I've said this for a long time, I said this throughout 2013, we have overly relied on high-stakes testing. We have to move in the opposite direction. What high-stakes testing has done is it has discouraged a focus on teaching and learning. It has discouraged a focus on teaching critical thinking and reasoning skills and the exact kind of skills needed in the modern economy. High-stakes testing over-focuses the educational process on test prep, on memorization, on learning by rote instead of learning to think critically. So it is the wrong methodology to use more than we have to use it according to current federal or state law. I've said in Albany at my testimony, I disagree with any measure, including the governor's proposal, that would increase our reliance on state tests. I think that's taking us in the wrong direction. I would also note, I said in Albany, when you have that kind of overemphasis on high-stakes testing, it discourages teachers from teaching the hardest to teach kids. Because if their lives and careers and their schools are all going to be judged by high-stakes testing, who wouldn't say, well, I guess it's going to set me back if I help the kids in greatest need? I think that's one of the fallacies of the idea of overemphasizing high-stakes testing. So we hope that the legislature will recognize that. We've certainly talked to legislative leaders, and we hope that they will protect the mix of measures that we think are necessary. You want to add?
I also spoke before the state legislature, and I want to be very clear. 50% of a teacher's evaluation based on testing, to me, is not what should be happening. Teachers are not test results. Teachers should be assessed on many things. They should be assessed on their work with parents, their collaboration with each other, their ability to get better at their jobs by attending professional development. We have developed a framework that actually evaluates teachers on a wide range of things. So just looking at 50% of a test score. The other piece of this is also that it takes away principal autonomy. No CEO in this city would allow an outside person or an outside force to tell them who to hire and how to keep them. So I believe in testing. I believe we do need to assess, but I believe the proportion that is being used for teacher evaluation is not the appropriate one.
Thank you. Jonathan.
Mr. Mayor, tomorrow morning you're slated to speak to the Association for Better New York, a group that has not always seen eye to eye with all of your policies. Can you give us a sense as to what you're going to tell them tomorrow? What is your message now here in your second year?
I'm not going to divulge my exciting speech, but I will give you just a broad sense. Look, I think it's an important organization in this city. It's one I've gone before several times to talk about my vision. I'm certainly going to talk about what we have to do to continue to address income inequality. I'm going to talk about the importance of our housing plan and some of the things that we need to do to foster job growth and better wages in this city. But I'll leave you with that broad description.
Is it ever appropriate in your view for a senior government official to rely exclusively on private email? And then also wondering if each of you can say whether you use private email for public business, yes or no?
I think you're offering me a hypothetical, and I will speak to the specific. I think it's not a great secret. I have immense respect for Secretary Clinton. I think she's one of the finest public servants that this country has produced. I think she's a person of extraordinary integrity. And what's quite clear is that when her staff was asked to produce all the emails that did document the work she was doing, 55,000 pages of emails were produced. So to me, it's quite clear that measures were taken to comply with both the letter and the spirit of the law, and I respect that. Every place is different. The City of New York has our own particular approach and our own particular rules. I do my official business on official email.
There are times when we rely on private email. So we do use our government email.
You want to speak to it? Yeah, I mean, so again, I certainly also use private email for private matters, or personal matters, or non-governmental matters. But for governmental, I use governmental email. Yes.
Okay, could you please tell us a little bit update of the municipal ID? How many people already applied and how it's going on?
I'm going to take a pass on that question for a moment to look at my email to give you the exact up-to-date number. It's an astounding number. I get a weekly report, so I'm going to come right back to you. Let's take another question.
There was a report today about a letter that Commissioner Pont sent to his staff after a correctional officer was sexually assaulted that seemed to lay the blame on the officer. I was wondering if you could respond to that, and as a follow-up, you could speak to the city's current relationship with Horizon Healthcare.
Well, wait. Just could we do the first one, and then we'll give you the second one, because I want to keep on the same topic at a time. First of all, I have immense respect for our corrections officers. They do a very, very tough job, and they do it well. This is a very troubling incident to have one of our corrections officers assaulted by an inmate. And I feel deeply for that officer and know it's been an extremely tough time for her and her family, and I wish her well. And I think the bottom line is we are trying to take a series of measures to change profoundly the reality on Rikers Island. It is deeply troubled. You've never heard anyone in this administration say everything's okay on Rikers Island. It's not. And we have been left a very troubled legacy that we are trying systematically to fix. It will take time, but we are throwing a huge amount of resources and effort at changing the situation on all levels. The safety of our officers is paramount in that. I think Commissioner Pont has done a great job in a very short period of time making profound changes. There's a lot more coming, and I'm going to be very personally involved, and I look forward to going out to Rikers again soon to continue to talk about the reforms we're making. As for his memo, I have not seen the whole memo. I've heard some brief summary of it. I know Commissioner Pont. He started his career as a corrections officer. He is legendary for having reformed some of the most troubled jail and prison systems around the country. He has profound respect for the people he leads. He was one of them once. So I know in his heart he clearly meant to encourage and support his workers while also holding them all to a high standard, because we need change and we need it now. But I am certain he only meant to reinforce and support his workers.
So you speak of the island's troubled legacy, and Horizon Healthcare, which provides the healthcare there, is part of that troubled legacy. Their contract will be up soon. Is the city considering ending that contract with them because they've been such a bad actor for so many years?
I don't want to. I appreciate the question. There's some editorial content in that question. I'm not going to agree to the assumption, respectfully. Everything on Rikers Island is being reviewed. Everything is being reassessed. Everything is being changed. Literally, when you go through the list of things that are already in motion, the addition of the security cameras all over the island, the change in the screening process for people coming into their work, the end of punitive segregation for juveniles, later for 18 to 21-year-olds, the creation of new high-security facilities for the most violent inmates, different training, different recruitment, different screening of officers, mental health programs being initiated with a lot of resources that weren't there before, capital investments. This is a high priority for me, and a lot is being thrown into it, and every single element of the work out there is being reassessed. So when we have something to say on the providing of the health care, we'll certainly share that with you, but that's another part of the larger situation that we're assessing. Okay, now, I owe you an answer. Hold on. Through the miracle of the, as my children like to say, the interweb. So, first of all, in terms of cards that are in people's hands or about to be in their hands, we're at 38,000. We've got another 5,000 behind that have been processed and should be ready to get printed soon. So we're well on our way to 40,000 in hand at this point. We have 269,000 specific appointments that have been made. Again, we are working energetically to make it a 90-day standard from the time that appointment is made to the time in which someone is processed. We're trying to push that down. We're adding resources, as you heard in the preliminary budget announcement. So right now, if you add that together, about 270 appointments pushing towards 40,000 cards that will be in hand. That takes us to about 310,000 people in motion, and the pace has been extraordinary. We expect that number to keep growing. We're getting great response from people who are using the card, and we think that the system's getting stronger with every passing week. Okay, who has not gotten a shot? Go ahead. You and then you.
Mr. Mayor, if you can tell us a little bit about your trip to Israel, what you're going to be doing, how long, maybe most significantly, why?
Well, we'll be announcing further details. I'll be going to Israel this summer, and for many reasons, of course, to express my solidarity with the people of Israel and the state of Israel, and because of the close ties between our country and Israel and our city and Israel. But secondly, I want to talk about what I think is a growing scourge of anti-Semitism, particularly in Western European nations. And that is one of the things that led me to go to Paris. I am very concerned about the response of European governments to what's obviously a growing problem. I've held up New York City as an example of a place that protects communities when they are under attack and embraces all communities. Today is another example of it. The way to approach a multicultural society is to embrace all elements of the society and to listen to their particular needs, whether it is the need for a Muslim school holiday or the need for physical protection because there are those who would do harm to the community, and that protection has to be done energetically and visibly. So one of the things I'll certainly focus on my trip to Israel is the need for European governments to step up and do a better job of protecting their Jewish communities.
In the vein of multicultural, could you explain, it's a two-pronged question, apparently the hours for the Irish breakfast on St. Patrick's Day at Gracie Mansion has been reduced, the number of invitees reduced, if that's correct?
Yeah, I don't think that's correct. We will get you the formal response, but I saw emails this morning from my staff saying that neither of those assumptions was accurate. We have a template now that we're using for all of the breakfasts that we do to celebrate different communities of this city. We try and involve as many people as possible. If you've been to the physical space at Gracie, there's a space limit. There's just a reality. We can only invite so many people and actually accommodate them in that space. But I think that report was misleading.
Second question, have you made a definitive decision about whether to march on Fifth Avenue?
Based on the information I have at this moment, I am not marching in the Manhattan St. Patrick's Parade. I've made very clear that there has to be more progress for me to consider marching in the parade. I think a lot of other leaders feel the same way. We do. I certainly applaud the progress this year compared to last, but because it is one narrow delegation, I don't think it responds to the core concern. So unless something changes, I'm not planning on marching. Yeah.
Thank you very much as a Muslim journalist. And my question is, you're talking about Europe, but is the growing Islamophobia in the United States. And there is great danger of backlash of what ISI is doing outside the United States. To did the New York, as a mayor, you are ready to do anything for safety of Muslims?
Absolutely, and I think part of what we're talking about today, again, is the embrace of all communities. And any time our Muslim communities are under threat, we will go to extra lengths to support and protect them as well. There is a problem in this country with some in this country who negatively characterize our Muslim brothers and sisters. That is wrong, it's morally wrong, it's inaccurate, it's counterproductive. So I will always be ready to support and respect this community. And when the community has a special need that we can address, we're going to go do that. That is part of the point I made about Commissioner Bratton and the NYPD. There's been an extraordinary effort, and I think a very important effort, to bring Muslim community leaders to One Police Plaza to talk about how to work together. As I said, a growing number of officers on our force of Muslim background, so much that's being done to embrace and involve the Muslim community in the work of our city government. That should be, in my humble opinion, that's the kind of model we should be using all over this country.
Mr. Mayor, can you please tell us what you have been asking the parade committee to do to make you feel comfortable to march this year? What is it that you're asking them to?
I'll only broadly characterize it that we need a greater inclusion. I think inclusion of one delegation from one company doesn't answer the larger question here that's being it's been before us now for many years. So again, I have not seen a proposal from the parade committee that actually speaks to a larger kind of inclusion. I don't expect it at this point, but if one were to come forward, we would certainly entertain it.
Mayor, do you anticipate, as the speaker did, going to Ramallah when they go to any Palestinian?
As I said, this is a trip for this summer, a long way before we plan the details, and we'll certainly be talking to a lot of people before we finalize the plan for that trip. Last call. Going once, going twice. Thank you, everyone.